Hey guys, Tarke here with the first build review of the 311 season. I'm collecting all of them and there'll be a whole bunch coming up on the channel shortly. This is a traditional Spectre Necromancer from one of my long-term viewers, Kanit. So let's see how he's tweaked his build for 311. I can see he's added some of the Warcry stuff already. We'll start off just by going through some of his options, some of his what he's paying for his like starter gear. And then we'll look through the tree. So, Ray's Spectres. Does he have any notes on what Spectres? I don't know what kind of Spectres he's using. I've heard that there's like an Archer boy that apparently is pretty good. Maybe Kanit will leave a comment about which Spectre he's playing on the YouTube video. But anyway, elemental damage with attacks. Yeah, I think he's using the Archer boy. Redemption Sentry. That's the one. That's the one. Change EMP, LE damage, okay. Hatred, Redemption, and Sentries, the Redeem, yes, the Redeem Archers. Yeah, I've seen really good videos of those. They look really strong. So Hatred, Generosity, Skitterbots, Vol Haste. So Hatred's buffing them up because it's Generosity. It won't affect him, so he can still trigger EE. Then the Skitterbots is giving him some Shock and Chill, and then obviously the Vol Haste is just like a big burst to his Spectre's Deeps. He's got some Stone Golem, Minion Life, Animate Guardian, Feeding Frenzy, so that's like giving him some buffs. Curse on Hit, Ball Lightning, Curse on Hit, Proj Weak. Proj Weak gives him the Pierce and a bunch of Proj damage, so very strong. Flesh Offering, Enduring Cry, second one. So he's going like full zoom, doesn't care about Bone Offering, that's why he doesn't take Glancing Blows. Soft Core, just gotta go fast. Yep, sounds good. He's got Enduring Cry linked in with Second Wind Convocation. I would really try and get increased duration on Enduring Cry. If you don't know, the new Enduring Cry gives like... level 20 Enduring Cry gives 2k regen over 1 second. So if you invest into Warcry effect, Warcry Sustain, and get the cooldown nice and low, have that stuff on left click, shit's pretty disgusting. So I'd really recommend shoving increased duration on there. But, fitting the links is pretty hard on these builds. Shield charge, fortify faster attacks. You want the second wind. Even if you have instant, it reduces the cooldown. Convocation. You also kind of want the increased duration on the flesh one. I would be tempted to shove increased duration where the convocation is, and maybe go for a double unset ring, or maybe try and move the convocation somewhere else. But otherwise, yeah, I agree with that. He's just planning on getting a +1 wand. This, like, again, this is just like what he's aiming for. So he's just going to go for like a +1 wand with like crafted roll on there. Victario's shield for the frenzy power charge generation. Makes sense. And then just like getting some life, get some life. Grip of the Council gloves. Fairly common item. You should get these in the first couple of days of the league. Gives a bunch of fizzes extra cold. Huge buff for his minions. Bones for the extra Spectres, Juju for the defense, and then just some life and life. And obviously he just fell in jewels with whatever he can get his hold on. So, fair enough. So, let's look at how he's routed this bad boy. So standard off the bat start, get the life, get the stuff. Got the minion wheel, comes up, grabs the additional Spectre. Doesn't go for dual curse, he could, but it's points and you don't want to go too high level. Leon comes down, grabs Purity of Flesh, which has been buffed, gives a bit more life, which is nice. Then he grabs Righteous Army and Redemption. He doesn't need Spiritual Aid because he's not dealing any damage. Gets the jewel, gets the life. See, minion attack speed, minion attack speed, minion attack speed. This is all good. I think you should take Anointed Flesh 100%. It gives +1 max res. And one thing you can do if you route through this way, this is what I'm playing on my league start. These small nodes give reduced effect of non-damaging ailments. So that's 5% reduced. So that's 35% reduced. So that is 50% reduced effect of shock. I reckon with these 3 points, you could get away with not having a grounding flask. So I would definitely recommend shoving those 3 points in there. They also give you 10 all res, which makes your early gearing feel really strong. So yeah, reduced effect of shock, which means you can save on a grounding flask. +1 max all res, very strong. Especially since you also then get Soul of Steel, +2 max all. Yeah, I think definite no-brainer, you want that. Then just get some minion damage, get the life, get the regen. Grave Pact, obviously very strong for his minions. He's not going Bone Offering, so he's not taking Glancing Blows. Obviously you want to do this in hardcore. You would juggle some points around, and you'd want to get Glancing Blows, and you grab Talus at the same time for the life. On my Cremation Necromancer, I route down the left of the tree. I skip Psalm Life completely. There's enough life that you can... If you take Tireless in these clusters, you can skip Psalm Life. Because this is very similar to how my tree routed. I also got Cruel Prep, and I had 188 life. So that's fine. And also there's life skipping here, missing here that he could have gone. He won't have any issues with Mana Stain. If you do run into any issues with Mana Stain on these builds, what you can do is pick up Dynamo for 2 points. Then whenever you use a guard skill, which you should be routinely using, you instantly just like recover all of your mana. Because like if he reserves like 70%, 75% of his mana, you can just every time you press a guard skill, it's like having a mana flask. Really nice node. Obviously very strong for like Mom builds, but I could see this also being very good for something like SRS possibly. So yeah, really strong. Stuff like Eternal Youth, I kind of feel like this stuff's actually like pretty solid for builds that don't have much sustain. For 1 point, it halves your regen, but it gives you, instead of having ES recovery, you get life recovery. So I honestly think it's something to play around with if you go more life focused on your tree. Like if you got like 7k life, just having this for 1 point, it means that when you're bossing, you know, you take a hit, run around for a few seconds, and full heal back to life. I think it's good for these kind of builds. I think it's definitely worth considering. Otherwise, he just comes down, grabs some Marauder, and then he takes Soul of Steel, which gives max res and flat armor, imbalanced guard, so this doubles the effect of your armor. For builds that have not a load of armor, this is really good. The more armor you have, the worse it is. Also, the more like flat physical reduction you have, the worse it is. So you don't want to take this on Jug, for example. And then he grabs Call to Arms, which gives him the instant Warcry. Gives him the Warcry buff effect, Warcry duration, and Debilitate. And also, enemies taunted by his Warcry take increased damage. One thing I would be I would just like mention, if you don't go for Eternal Youth, you could maybe route down the left of the tree. And if you take a Escalation, that's more Warcry cooldown speed. You don't benefit from the damage. So I think that's basically fine. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty much spot on, kind of how... I don't think there's really necessarily anything I would change for this in a league start scenario. Yeah, I don't necessarily think there's anything I'd change. Obviously, eventually, once you got some gear, you would shuffle your tree around a bit to get cluster jewels, but for league start, you're not going to have them. His gear is pretty realistic. I would basically just say go for the Anointed Flesh. That was really the main thing. Maybe consider Eternal Youth as well. And this is another pretty good one for 4 points. You could also anoint this. Remove an ailment when you Warcry. He's very close to it. I would consider it. Also, there's a lot of Warcry speed on this cluster. There's enough Warcry speed here that you could maybe take this, drop Call to Arms, and then if he has enough keybinds, you could run both Enduring Cry and Infernal Cry. Something to consider. Get the pops. You could also go Rallying Cry. Rallying Cry seems very interesting. Rallying Cry is the Warcry that buffs your minions based on your weapon. One thing you can do is you could weapon swap. Like, you could weapon swap into, like, a big DPS weapon. Rallying Cry, weapon swap back. It's a bit finicky, but it's something that you could do, like, before you go into a boss room. So, like, just before you go into the boss room, weapon swap, Rallying Cry, swap back, go in and just, like, destroy things. So, I think it's definitely something worth considering. Don't know. But anyway, I really like it. Would recommend. And there'll be links to everything down below. So, yes, I'm Tarke. Spectres are pretty good, by the way. Have a good day. Bye-bye.